TCS CEO hails Prime Minister Modi's push for globalization and free trade in his maiden speech at Davos. An exclusive chat with ET Now's executive editor, News Supriya Srinath. Rajesh Gopinath, I stand corrected. Rajesh Gopinathan also comments on why benchmarking a company's performance with NASSCOM estimates does not do justice to the IT services sector.
I think the whole path to it is to go into the knowledge economy and to use the opportunities. I think what the Prime Minister said about globalization and the need for a greater inclusion of India into the bodies like UN and other multilateral organizations was a very big takeaway for us. And of course the fact that he referred to technology and India's growing capabilities in technology as a means for the, a calling card for our greater participation in the global forum. I think that was a big takeaway for us.
Indeed, but I think 2018 has begun on a great and a very high note for you. You look at the large deal wins in the last month. You've won nearly $6 billion under a month's time. What is this a sign of? Demand that's reviving, an investment cycle that's reviving, or your early investments in digital?
I think it's a good sign of what we've been speaking about, that digital is not just about front-end technologies and about, just the UI part of it. Digital at an enterprise-wide adoption will require a seamless integration from the front end all the way to the back end and operations. Those deals are testimony to the fact that we have that full stack of capabilities to be able to drive transformation at an enterprise-wide level. So we are quite enthused by it. We have been talking about this for some time now, and having those successes, and while they all came in a bunch, it was a really encouraging sign of where digital is going towards large-scale enterprise adoption.
But are you finally seeing the digital space or the digital deals move up to the few hundred millions versus the tens millions that were being talked about last year? And which are the sectors that's driving this all, and why?
I think BFSI and any of the consumer-facing sectors will definitely be at the front end of driving it, because the whole approach towards large-scale customer data mining, changing the transaction paradigm, being able to go to remove friction in all forms of transactions is a big driver for what people want to do. They also want to figure out how to get to growth and transformation using these technologies. So we think that large digital deals will be the way of the future, but they're likely to be lumpy. They're likely to be unpredictable in terms of how they close, but definitely there are encouraging signs of it.
So initially, of course, Accenture made a big deal about and could leverage digital very well, thanks perhaps to its consulting pedigree. But do you believe the maturity of the cycle has put Indian IT giants like yourselves in a better position to leverage it now?
I think TCS's full stack of capabilities was core to be able to do enterprise digital transformation. So digital in its early part, as I said, is primarily on the UI side, whereas our capability, significantly our competitive capability increases when it comes to enterprise-wide adoption. And that has been the primary driver for it. And I think TCS has probably one of the most unique set of capabilities across the full spectrum to actually make digital work for an enterprise. And we are really seeing validation of that. And that's where these deals are constructed.
So when you say about validation, are you looking to make more investments, and how does this bode for hiring?
We are constantly investing, and even more importantly, we stay very focused on our investments, and we have both the will and the capacity to stay with our investments. So if you look at these platform deals, Diligenta was an investment we made more than 10 years ago.
That's right.
And being able to stay with it, do the transformation, develop it, and then be able to land it across multiple markets. I think that's the kind of capacity that will be required. That's the kind of resilience that will be required as we look out into technology playing a much more transformative role in enterprises.
I think it's only a fair question that I ask you at Davos. You spent the first few months of being the CEO visiting every client across the globe. Is it a strategy that perhaps has paid off? And is this some kind of a validation to why you chose to do this?
No, absolutely. I think we have a fairly limited set of customers and a very tight go-to-market universe, as it were. And staying close to customers has always been critical to TCS's strategy. So we run a very flat organization. We are very accessible to our customer set. And establishing those direct connections, establishing that relationships on a personal basis also was very important. And it's not about the first 2-3 months. First 2-3 months was on an accelerated basis. But both me and NGS we are traveling all the time, and all our leadership
Living
team.
out of suitcases, quite literally.
Living out of suitcases. I like to put it saying that my life is elevated now. It's more at 30,000 feet than at the ground level. So.
There's always fun in work, no? Okay, I'll ask you a quick question here. When you took over and you were appointed CEO on the 20th of February, if I remember clearly, last year, almost a year into this job, you had very big shoes to fill in, and everybody said, how is it going to work at TCS and all that? Has that pressure eased, and do you believe all these recent deals have kind of helped that pressure ease as well?
I think the pressure was eased by the team itself, because as you know, we have had a very stable team, and their acceptance of this transition itself was the biggest factor. I really didn't feel pressure through the year, as it were. It's not as if these deals have taken the pressure off. The fact that we have been able to keep the team together, we have been able to refocus on various areas and continue the strategy execution has been the biggest factor. And it has been a good ride, and we have been executing to strategies that we have pretty much articulated in the past also. There is no radical change per se over the last 12 months.
You made some kind of a bold, if I may say, controversial statement lately when you said you recently, when you did say that you shouldn't benchmark your performance with NASSCOM guidance. Now, considering you don't give a guidance at TCS or a growth estimate, what metric should one judge TCS by, going forward?
You should judge TCS by TCS. So, which is the norm in most industries, right? Nobody judges by industry consolidations. The issue is more that NASSCOM is now a much more diverse set of people, and therefore it doesn't make sense to really look at it. It's not fair to NASSCOM itself because of it. So it's much better to look at individual companies. There has been a lot of dispersion in strategies, in company performances. So it's better to benchmark to your own performance and to your own expectations, and test it from that.